Hi everyone, it is Dawn. I'm here to share just a brief video with some ideas that I shared on my Facebook and Instagram page, but I'm not that active on social media or here for that matter of late, so I felt a video would be the best way to share this content. So excuse my appearance. I'm house sitting and dog sitting and donkey sitting here in the Pacific Northwest, and continue to, be on my own healing journey in my own space. And we'll be back to share more. I had anticipated coming back mid-fall, so you can keep your eyes open, potentially around by November 1st, if not before. But today just felt it was really important to share this with you. So, on any given day, there are headlines that are shocking and disturbing, and often following those shocking and disturbing events in our world, there is what has now become the predictable diatribe from whatever side, the polarized, the two poles, the polar opposites, and also the bickering. It's understandable where that comes from, from our heartbreak. It is heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking what is happening all around us. And it is further disconcerting to me anyway to witness the diatribe and the supposed discourse that is just dismissive of one another, in whether that's an individual or a group, and people not really managing that well, not knowing how to handle that. And so yesterday on September 11th, and any given situation can be an invitation for further reflection, but yesterday I witnessed some of that, and I was just, it's too much for many of us. It's too much. Particularly, I think, for those of us who have held a higher vision for humanity, who have come to this earth to be of service in whatever ways we can, which is all of us, by the way. Some of us are just more aware of that than others. And it can be just really, really difficult to navigate these times as we make this passage to a new society and ultimately into a new era, rich in love. Ultimately, we will all have that opportunity to rise into the realm of radiance, which I try to practice on a day-to-day basis, and I hope you will too. So without further ado, what I want to share in this video is something I found that I wrote many years ago. I now call them my 12 affirmations for everyday life thriving. But when I originally wrote them down, I literally wrote them down. I think it was it was probably 17 or 18 years ago, somewhere in that period. So before I, stepped into any sort of, spiritual service in a public way anyway. And I wrote these down because I was finding it very challenging to come up against people who would say things that were untrue, or who would reject me for what reason I still don't know. I would have preferred to have, had a label or something, like it made some sense. But in any case, that's about me. But this touches a sore spot for me, right? Because I wrote these when I needed them. I needed them because I was disconnected from me initially, for a variety of reasons. But generally speaking, when we become disconnected, it's because there's a wounding, there's a childhood, wound, or a past life wound or something there where we are really vulnerable. And so we either shut down or attack, or, fight, flight, freeze, fawn. So I wrote these, and I've tweaked them a bit through the years, and I wanted to share them with you today. I'm just actually going to read what I shared on Facebook. Forgive that. I will come back with a more polished video at some point. Yes, the way back to life. The way back to life, not to mention sanity, it has to begin within each one of us. So what I said was, if we want to live in a society and in communities that are safe then we have to reconnect to a sense of responsibility for the way we are seeing ourselves, the way we're seeing the world around us, the way we are being, just with ourselves, but with other people, and how we're engaging with the world around us, and the ways in which we are either freeing ourselves and others or denying that freedom to others. So this is something I really believe is critical. If we don't get this right, we're not going to make it, at least not, I can't predict, but I think collectively, if we don't get a handle of this, we're in for a long, extended period of not so fun things. So it seems to me that if each of us can return, and make our own affirmations, like I'm going to share my 12 affirmations for everyday life thriving, but they might not be yours, but maybe you have 1 or 5 or 27, whatever. Write your own list, please. So here are the 12 guidelines that helped me to try to do what I just said, to make sure that I was being responsible for how I was showing up, how I was seeing things, my perspective. And that's something we choose. How I was being in, day to day, how I was moving through life, and then how I was either contributing to people's freedom or taking that away, and actually beginning with my own freedom as well and sovereignty. So the 12 guidelines I'm going to share with you have really helped me kind of, all those years ago, helped me to get to the point where I understood better what behaviors I was choosing in the moment in small ways. But the thing is, people want to point the finger at the big things, the latest mass shooter, or the latest killing, murder, the latest, egregious action, the latest person who crossed a line, whatever it might be, the latest scandal. None of us is perfect. Not any of us is perfect. But I do believe truly that when we seek to walk in the way of life, and when we try to embody a more perfect love, or when we even try to just honestly embody human decency as we see that, then as we do that, choice by choice by choice, day by day by day, we begin to return to what it is to be human. We begin to reclaim radically the love we have lost. We begin to come even just a little closer to understanding what it is to love and to be loved and to embody love and to love one another. I know I'm all over the place, but love is what it's about. It's love that sustains all things in our reality and all realities. That is the truth that underlies everything, and it is the only thing that is going to hold us together is love. So if you take nothing else away from this video, then let this be an invitation to dwell in love and to consider love. How can I be love in light of the tragedies that are all around us every day? How can I show up as love? What about the next thing I say? So here are my 12 affirmations for everyday life thriving, and I tacked on, for my Facebook post, I tacked on "and surviving," our passage to a new society. So the first affirmation is, I know who I am. I am light, I am life, I am love. I'm going to read them all, then I'll come back and comment. I know who I am. I am light, I am life, I am love. Number 2, I allow all actions to flow from the core of who I am. Number 3, I seek to better love and appreciate myself and others. Number 4, I bring the best and truest of who I am forward in every choice I make. Number 5, I take full responsibility for my life. Number 6, I make choices that elevate the best of who I am, and I do no harm. Number 7, I ask for help when I feel disconnected, unsafe, and not supported. Number 8, I engage in practices and activities that help me stay more connected. Number 9, I know that I belong to the family of humanity. Number 10, I acknowledge that all humans belong to the family of humanity. Number 11, I see that some humans make choices that seem inhumane. Number 12, I choose to honor a higher harmonic humanity. Now, I want to stop and say one thing. When I wrote these things on a piece of paper, scrawled them because I was out of my mind, somewhere 17, 18, 19 years ago. I don't really know exactly, but somewhere around that. I felt utterly alone. I felt I had been X'd out of literally the family of humanity. But I knew that that is not who I was, that who I was a person who was loved by God. I was a child of God. And I knew that at my core, I was not what I was being labeled at, and I was not who others wanted to make me out to be. Only this or only that. How often do we see that these days? That's what we're doing to each other. We're tearing each other apart. And so when I wrote these, I didn't have much strength. I was, to the best of my ability, taking responsibility for my actions in my life, but I was very, very broken and hurt. And it had, despite how strong I was spiritually, it had really affected my ability to maintain connected to my truth, my true nature, my essence, that light and that life and that love that I am, that we all are. And so if you're there, it's okay. And we must, for each other and for ourselves and for the future of our species, we must get this right. We must begin within. So again, my invitation to you is to make your own list here, make your own affirmations, but take it seriously, please. So I wrote some notes related to each of the guidelines, and I'm just going to quickly mention a few of those if it might be helpful. So number one, those guidelines are intended for adults. If you are a child and need help, seek out the most trusted adult that you can. If you are a parent, please consider what you're modeling for your children. So back to the affirmations. Number one was, I know who I am light, I am life, I am love. If by chance you don't believe this, the invitation I would give to you is to get curious about why. I had trouble in the beginning with light for some reason. I totally believed I was love and life because I love life, and it's just what I think so many people miss, even the light and love community, the light and love brigade, as I used to call them. So in any case, the invitation is to really, anchor into those three aspects of who we are: light, life, and love. And if you don't believe any one of them or all of them, maybe get curious about why and find the courage to explore and heal that to the best of your ability and ask for support. I do this and have done this through the years so that I can better understand myself, and so that I'll have the ability to move through my life without bringing harm to myself or to any other. So the second affirmation is, I allow all actions to flow from the core of who I am. And to me, this means bringing my awareness and my attention to my thoughts, my feelings, my behaviors, my choices, my actions, my perceptions. And when I find myself slipping into judgment, my judgments. And really just, everything that goes on in here and that comes out of here, right? We need to know what it is that lies within us. And I personally use some self-reflection techniques. I love walks in the woods. I journal, and that has been helpful to me. So if you are not finding it possible to examine these things yourself, to really move through that process of self-reflection, then please ask for support, reach out. Regarding that, number 7 is, I ask for help when I feel disconnected, unsafe, or not supported. So ideas for where you can look for help: counselors, coaches, trusted advisors, friends, and family who feel safe, professional organizations, community groups, other professionals, depending on, where it is that you have that point of your need is. But don't stop asking. If you don't get the help you need, or if somebody lets you down, don't let that be a reason. Don't let that person or that system that let you down take your power. I've done that. It's not ever a good road to walk down. It's not who you are. Don't let people define you. But also, there's not a need to constantly attach to other people's agendas and stories. Just don't let it affect you. Now, at the beginning, when you are really in the middle of a lot of pain, it's not, you need help, you need support. We all do. Other pathways to healing that you might want to consider: prayer and meditation, connection to nature, and above all, what I have found to be super helpful is to trust in life. Now, I will say that that's something that is deep within me and always has been. So what is it you love, that you believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that is a true thing? For some people, it's nature. For some people, it's just the breath of life itself. And for others, it is creativity. So seek that thing. Number 9 of the affirmations is, I know that I belong to the family of humanity. Granted, this is the one that's up for review right now. So I want to say a few things. Number 1, if others tell you that you don't belong to anything, to any group, or you're not okay, or you're not even human, you don't belong to humanity, if they question your humanity, if they deny your humanity, if they excommunicate you, if they reject you, do not believe them. And where it's possible, release these individuals and the groups. Don't allow them the space in your heart and your mind and your body and your soul. Now, if you're someone who feels trapped in a system where you don't feel safe or supported, then ask with an open heart for the help you need. Be discerning about who you ask. Keep asking, keep asking, keep asking. I don't stop asking because someone doesn't listen or I don't receive the help I need at first. Again, keep asking. There is going to be someone. There's going to be someone. And the best of us, let people down. We do. Because none of us can be there for everyone. But trust that if you ask, it will be given. I have found that to be true when there has been no human who has been available, or I thought there was none. And I did rely on prayer, and I would ask the angels for support, and miracles can happen. We've lost our faith, we've lost our trust, we've lost our hope. We've lost those 7 wonders of the soul. This 7-year period is about 2020 to 27. Faith, hope, love, healing, growth, passion, beauty. So it's interesting too, because there are a lot of people who have a lot of passion, some of whom I agree with and some of whom I don't. But this is the year of passion, and we're moving into beauty. But it's all up for grabs here. So let's really take this seriously. Let's affirm life. Let's be true to who we are, to rise up into that realm of radiance, to shine as the lights we are, and to love one another. So if you don't believe that you belong to the family of humanity, for whatever reason, get curious about why you believe that. Again, journal, seek out professional support, find the courage to explore that and heal. So once you affirm that you belong to the family of humanity, the next invitation is to acknowledge that all humans belong to the family of humanity. And along with that, number 11, to see that some humans make choices that seem inhumane or incomprehensible, or seem to have done irreparable harm, or are absolutely unforgivable in their actions, right? There's all of us feel that at some point in our lives, whether it's from an individual or group or just witnessing what we're seeing on TV or whatever, or around us in society. So if by chance you don't believe that all humans belong to the family of humanity, again, get curious about why you believe that. Where's that come from? Did you believe that when you were a small child? I ask myself often, is it possible, when I find myself just really getting stirred up, is it possible that I have allowed my own pain from my own life experiences as a child or an adult, or, some soul memory that I have, is it possible that that pain is really directing my reaction or response? Or similarly, is it possible that a similar pain is directing and affecting the way that others choose to act, individually or collectively, in groups, or in entire societies, entire segments? And so notice where that's spilling over into your view of all humans, or into broad swaths of society, entire groups. And this has been happening for the last decade for sure. Social media is, the main place we see this. So be open to, once you start to discover there, work with a professional. Be open to discussing this with somebody that is trustworthy. And then the final affirmation is, I choose to honor a higher harmonic humanity. When I wrote that many years ago, I didn't really have a vision of what that meant. I was like, what is that? Higher harmonic, blah, blah, what? And now I do. I feel it. I see it. I have experienced it, that realm of radiance. And I do my best to see and understand my own thoughts and feelings and choices in whatever circumstance, and to remain true to who I am and what I feel and what I'm experiencing in the moment. But to do that without attacking or defiling or debasing or devaluing or dishonoring or disrespecting or any disses or belittling or mocking or shaming or blaming or harming in any way those with whom I disagree vehemently sometimes. So I really try to understand what I'm feeling, thinking first before I speak. I'm a quick talker. I don't always do this right. Sometimes I react way too quickly. But I think it's critical right now for all of us that we seek to listen where we can, and to remove ourselves without the need to announce it and then make the other person feel like they're to blame for us removing ourselves. Let's think here. Let's be a little wiser. Let's return to the light and the life and the love we are before we do or say anything. What would that be like? What if we led every day with those revolutions of love that I've mentioned in the past, and only shared things that uplift and that are true to both the whole of who we are and are in service to the healing of humanity, to the higher harmonic humanity? What kind of world would that look like? So what else can help? If you have ideas, please let this be an invitation for you to share those with those around you in whatever way you feel drawn to do so. Feel free to leave a comment if you want. I think comments are on. I'll check that. If not, you can comment on Facebook or Instagram. And I really want to thank you for whatever your last, I don't know, we could say 7 years, but last couple of years for sure have been like. Whatever they've been like, know that your willingness to show up, to wake up, to get out of bed every day and to say, I am alive. I'm alive. Just that is a gift. So stay with that. If it's too much and too hard to deal with the quote reality, unreality all around us, stay with light and life and love. Be well. I will see you soon. Lots of love. Bye.